Are you hungry for investment returns? There is a new growth ETF from Global X covering a sector that no other ETF covers. It's half technology, half biotech. Who wouldn't be interested in a combo of those two? It's called CROP. That's K-R-O-P. And today we're looking at what's in it, should you own it, and I'll tell you why I think this one will increase by 5x in the years to come. What's great about this new CROP, that's K-R-O-P ETF from Global X, is that it's different from any other ETF I've seen. It covers what I call the human population investment thesis. That's the idea that the global population increases by 200,000 people a day, and all of those people need nutrition or food every single day. So I invest in agricultural companies that tap into the ever-growing demand for food. What other sectors have an infinity of growing demand? This thesis is straightforward. At the end of this video, after the CROP ETF analysis, I'll give you my complete list of ag investments as it stands today. What do you think of investing in agriculture? Let me know in the comments down below. The two questions I'm trying to answer about the CROP ETF is, can CROP complement MOO, that's M-O-O, in my portfolio? Or even better, is CROP good enough to be a standalone investment that covers all of the ag space and the human population thesis? I start every ETF analysis with a self-created ETF screening tool. This is my way of asking basic questions about the fund before I can say whether it's worthy to be in my portfolio. So first up, what's the expense ratio and how much does the fund manage? CROP has an expense ratio of 50 basis points, and the AUM is basically zero, seeing as how the fund just launched. Don't disregard this one because of the low AUM though. Just be aware that the low AUM might make it tough for you to execute buy and sell orders until there's more shares in circulation. So far so good. The holdings in CROP offer global exposure to agricultural innovators, another strong positive. And it's issued by Global X, a household name in the world of thematic ETFs. CROP has also a very different set of holdings than the S&P 500, which I can get the S&P 500 for virtually zero in fees. So far in this screener, CROP is getting very high marks. But there are two reasons to move cautiously. The first negative my screen tool caught was that the top 10 holdings in this ETF make up 76% of the fund. 76%, that's massive. Normally, I turn away from a dense top 10 like that because you lose the diversity advantage of an ETF when the top is stacked like this. The second thing I don't like is that it only has 30 holdings in total. 30 holdings is no big deal in itself, but when you consider that the top 10 are 76%, it makes you wonder, does the bottom 24% of the fund even influence my investment? So be cautious about that top 10, but otherwise, this ETF passes my screening test. Let's look closer at the specifics of CROP. The top 10 includes names you've heard of. Oatly, a stock I'm bullish on in the long term, and I've mentioned in other videos in the past. Check out my video on them if you want to hear the thesis behind that brand. And Beyond Meat, the plant-based food company, even GrowGen made the CROP top 10. Many investors might not be familiar with Corteva or Nutrien, but just know these are big-time ag players that sit in the top 10 of every agricultural-themed ETF, and CROP is no exception. Even comparing the top 10 of CROP with the top 10 of MOO, we see Corteva and Nutrien are the only two companies that overlap. In other words, these two ETFs are very different from each other. That's good. What else is inside CROP? I've gone through and put an icon next to each business to try and summarize what they do. Check out the legend on the screen. Well, on the ag tech side, there's a handful of CEA power players. And think of CEA as indoor or hydroponic farming. That's why GrowGen and Hydrofarm and AppHarvest are in this ETF. Probably Scotts Miracle-Gro too, as they're a leader in CEA. CROP covers robotics firms too, which is why Raven is here. And other areas of focus are seed developers, fertilizer makers, and pesticide producers. On the food innovation side, Crop is looking to include firms that reduce waste and innovate alternatives to animal protein. Oatly, Beyond, Unilever, Laird represent that field. What Crop doesn't contain is Deere or Tyson or Kubota. So if I'm asking the question, can Crop be a nice complement to Moo in my portfolio? Comparisons like this lead me to think yes. And that's because Moo benefits from today's agriculture, while Crop contains this ag superstar of 2030 or 2040. But because I can't shake the top 10 density of this ETF, at the end of the day, Crop isn't built to be a standalone holding in any portfolio. Maybe that's how Global X is marketing it, but my analysis says otherwise. It's just too concentrated at the top. However, I do think Crop is a great complement to Moo, and I'll be building my portfolio going forward with something like $100 of Moo for every $50 of Crop. So a 2-to-1 ratio. I'm still going to buy this ETF because I believe in this niche. Ag tech firms are making robotic harvesters and safer pesticides. What's not to like about that? I bet you that Global X adds Benson Hill to this fund after that SPAC merger runs its course. And the best part, this is still a sleepy investment space. If you've been to the channel before, you know I say that all the time. Agriculture is value now, growth later. And as long as plays like these stay off the mainstream radar, I'll keep adding shares to my portfolio. And with that said, here's my list of current agricultural plays that I promised you at this video opening. My top 2 holdings are Scotts Miracle-Gro and Hydrofarm, the 2 strongest ways to access the CEA market. I hold these 2 as equal weight counterparts, and I add to them from time to time when their RSI enters oversold territory. On the next tier down, I hold Oatly, Gladstone Land, Farmland Partners, and the Moo ETF at a more or less equal weighting. That gives me access to farmland, agribusinesses, and the growing shift toward plant-based proteins. And finally, at the bottom of my ag holdings list is Crop, which I just began accumulating last week. So there we have it.